In AI,
generative AI,
AI is
that AI,
AI.
generative AI,
AI.
As you may have heard, AI is having a very busy year.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the buzzword of 2023. It's actually nothing new, but OpenAI's introduction of ChatGPT back in November 2022 spurred talks of this quote-unquote new technology called AI. Everybody from your friends and colleagues to your mom and dad are talking about it. But for you, you probably have some cash lying around and you might be wondering, should I invest in the AI revolution? If so, which is the best AI stock to buy today? One particular stock that comes to mind is Palantir, which is going to be the topic of today's video. We're gonna go deep dive into the company. We're gonna talk about its financials, its Q1 results, what I'm gonna do with the stock, its valuation, and more. My name is Rado, and this channel is all about finding the companies of tomorrow. And full disclosure, I do have a position in Palantir. And with that said, let's take a look at Palantir stock. In 2003, 5 entrepreneurs, Peter Thiel, Joe Lonsdale, Stephen Cohen, Nathan Gittings, and Alex Karp joined forces to form Palantir. Back then, Palantir was used as an analytical tool to reduce fraud and terrorism, and I think the September 11 terrorist attacks that destroyed the World Trade Center and killed nearly 3,000 people had some sort of influence in the formation of Palantir. As it turned out, the company was named after Palantiri, or seeing stones from the movie The Lord of the Rings. These stones were balls of crystal that enabled the user to look into the future, much like what Palantir was designed to do, to identify, anticipate, and prevent future attacks. Traditionally, organizations need to invest millions and even billions of dollars to build their own digital infrastructures, data warehouses, and digital twin models, which are incredibly difficult, complex, and risky to execute. With that in mind, Palantir builds and deploys the foundational software of tomorrow that serves as the central operating system for these organizations, helping them to accelerate their digital transformation by integrating their data, decisions, and operations at scale. In other words, Palantir is a big data analytics platform that helps companies make sense of their data to make data-driven decisions. This is achieved through Palantir's 4 core product offerings, which are Foundry, Gotham, Apollo, and its recently launched artificial intelligence platform. I won't go too deep into each product, as there are many other YouTube videos out there which have done a really good job in explaining Palantir's technology, but I'll just briefly explain what each platform does. First is AIP, which basically lets organizations activate and deploy large language models and other AI within their private network along with their private data. It also enables businesses to define and control the rules around which the AI can and cannot see and what they can and cannot do on behalf of humans. So in other words, AIP allows businesses to leverage Palantir's machine learning technologies and software to intelligently automate tasks and decisions. The second platform is Foundry, which is the ontology-powered operating system for modern enterprises, and it is targeted towards commercial customers. So Foundry has an open architecture, and it integrates siloed data sources, analytics, and teams into a common foundation. And this common foundation is called the ontology, and it integrates the semantic, kinetic, and dynamic layers of an organization. In other words, the ontology connects all the digital assets to their real-world counterparts, forming a digital twin of the enterprise that users can interact with. Ultimately, Foundry aims to replace legacy data infrastructures and operating systems, and Palantir has even gone as far as claiming that Foundry will be the next AWS in the coming decade. The third platform is Gotham, which is the operating system for government decision making. It is designed specifically for government agencies, global defense operators, and financial institutions to analyze data and combat threats such as terrorism, fraud, and other highly sensitive matters. Rumor says it that Palantir Gotham played a certain role in helping the US Navy SEALs locate and assassinate former Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. And last but not least, we have Apollo. So despite the differences between AIP, Gotham, and Foundry, they are all backed by Apollo, which is the operating system for continuous delivery. Basically, Apollo is a cloud-agnostic software that manages, deploys, and maintains the other 3 platforms across virtually any environment. This includes ongoing delivery of new features, security updates, and platform configurations so customers can be at the top of their game. game. So to recap, Palantir is a big data analytics platform powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies with 4 core product offerings: AIP, Gotham, Foundry, and Apollo. With that out of the way, let's take a look at Palantir's competitive advantages. In terms of moats, I think Palantir has a strong technology moat. But I just want to say, Palantir is probably the most difficult company I've researched so far, and I don't have a software engineering background either, so it's really hard for me to tell if Palantir has a technological edge. Fortunately, we can look at the types of deals and customers Palantir has established so far to tell if it has a technology moat. Here we can see Palantir's commercial partners, including Ferrari, BP, and Google, and on this side, we can see Palantir's government customers. These are not just some small customers. In fact, these are some of the largest and most important players in their respective industries. And here we can see some of the recent deals that Palantir has closed in 2022 and 2023, including Cloudflare, the UK Ministry of Defense, and Microsoft. So such a long list of high quality customers speaks volumes about Palantir's technology moat. Moreover, Palantir is recognized as a worldwide leader in artificial intelligence. For example, industry analysts such as Forrester and IDC recognize Palantir as a leader in AI software. The next competitive moat that Palantir has is the fact that they have created high barriers to entry for new and smaller players. Building a central operating system that is trusted by key industry players is not easy. It requires billions of dollars and decades of investment, development, and refinement, and Palantir has been doing so for 2 decades, which gives them a major head start. This essentially creates high barriers to entry for competitors. Let's not forget, Palantir is one of the most active names in the government sector with a total of 110 government customers, and building such a large network in the public sector requires significant due diligence, relationship building, and lobbying, which are some of the things that many companies, particularly those smaller ones, are not able to do or afford. Last but not least, Palantir has a high switching cost moat. Through its acquire, expand, scale, go-to-market strategy, Palantir inevitably creates high switching costs among its customers. When Palantir first approaches a new customer, it offers its platforms to the customer at a low cost, allowing them to test out the platform at low initial capital investments. As customers graduate to the expand and scale phases, which they are likely to do given Palantir's superior technology, they have already invested millions into the platform and experienced the full benefit of Palantir's operating systems. As such, once customers use Palantir's solutions, they are very likely to remain as customers for the long run, as switching providers or building an in-house operating system is difficult, time-consuming, and costly. And that is a major headache that most businesses are unwilling to go through. Also, Palantir provides the software infrastructure for entire industries and sectors. Take Skywise for example, which is basically an aviation platform built by Palantir and Airbus to address aircraft operations challenges. So Skywise uses Foundry, and since Airbus pretty much controls half of the aviation market, Foundry will be distributed to basically half of the existing global air fleet. Today, Skywise connects more than 10,500 aircraft across more than 100 airlines on the platform. If Airbus decides to abandon the Skywise program, it will be chaos for the entire aviation value chain, and that is something airlines and users would want to avoid. And that is switching cost mode at play. Now that we've talked about the company, let's look at Palantir's financials. 2022 revenue was $1.9 billion, which is up 24% year over year. In addition, Q1 revenue was $525 million, which is up 18% year over year. And this beat analyst estimates by $19 million as well as $20 million ahead of management's midpoint guidance. So the outperformance is primarily due to strong momentum in the US, which generated $337 million in the first quarter, which is up 23% year over year or 12% quarter over quarter. As you can see, growth has decelerated over the last few quarters. This is not surprising given that Palantir is growing over a larger base, and plus the challenging macro environment is weighing down on growth as well. But I think what got investors worried is that the company is not growing as fast as the market markets will have liked, especially when management guided for annual revenue growth of at least 30% a few quarters ago. Moving on, the slowdown in growth was primarily due to the lagging government segment. In 2022, revenue was $1.1 billion, which is up 19% year over year, and this is due to customers in the United States. So US government revenue was $826 million, which grew 22% year over year, as you can see by the gray line right here, outpacing overall government revenue growth of 19%. Existing customers also contributed to the growth as they expanded the use of Palantir's products and services. On the other hand, growth was offset by increased delays in the completion of the US government budgeting process. On the other hand, Q1 government revenue was $289 million, which is up 20% year over year, and this is due to customers in the US again, which generated $230 million in Q1, which is up 22% year over year. Existing customers also contributed to the growth, which added $46 million of revenue in Q1. Turning to the commercial side of the business, in this chart here, I've included commercial revenue growth rates as well as US commercial growth rates for reference. So 2022 commercial revenue was $834 million, which is up 29% year over year, and this is due to the growth of the US market, which grew 67% year over year. The addition of new customers also drove half of the growth in commercial revenue in 2022. On the other side, Q1 commercial revenue was $236 million, which is up 15% year over year, and this is due to the growth of the US customers, which re-accelerated to 26% in Q1, as well as existing customers contributing roughly 2/3 of the growth. This is great to hear because US customers is the most important target market, and the growth of existing customers is proof that customers are happy with Palantir's technology. As you can see, commercial revenue decelerated meaningfully over the course of 2022, especially for the US segment, and this is due to very tough year-over-year comps as well as a decline in revenue from customers in its strategic investment program, or the SPAC companies that Palantir invested in. Nonetheless, it is really encouraging to see that commercial revenue has re-accelerated in Q1 despite the 136% year-over-year growth in US commercial revenue that we saw in Q1 last year. So hopefully overall commercial revenue can continue to accelerate from here and return to growth rates of 20% plus. Here we can see revenue distribution by segment, with government revenue making up more than half of the business and 55% of revenue in Q1, while the commercial segment makes up the remaining 45% of revenue. I expect commercial revenue to eventually make up the majority of revenue, probably around 60% of revenue, given the fact that the company is rolling out more initiatives for commercial use, such as the recently launched artificial intelligence platform, and besides, commercial customer growth has been robust as of lately, which brings us to the next point. Here we can see that Palantir grew government customers by 18% to 110 government customers in Q1. I do want to point out that for the government segment, there seems to be a sudden interest in Palantir's technology. Take a look at 2021. Government customers did not grow at all, which stayed at just 90 customers. But in 2022, Palantir added 17 new government customers and then another 3 customers in Q1. So adding more government customers is a big deal, as they typically involve larger and longer contracts, and so that is really great to see. On the other hand, commercial customers have been growing rapidly, which is why we're seeing commercial revenue outpacing overall revenue growth. As you can see, commercial customer count grew by 52% year over year, with the US growing by 50% and international commercial customer growing by 54%. And overall, total customers grew by 41% year over year to 390, despite the challenging macro environment. So that is really great to see. And as Palantir continues to add more customers to its platform, the greater the growth potential and the more stable its revenue stream. As you can see, average revenue per top 20 customer continues to trend upwards, growing 14% year over year in Q1 to $51 million. This means that Palantir customers in general are investing more and more into the platform, which is a testament to its unique value proposition. And this is just the top 20 customers, and Palantir has 370 other customers that could use more of Palantir's platform, thus leading to robust revenue growth. So as I see it, the most important growth metric to watch for is Palantir's number of customers, not revenue. because the more customers that Palantir acquires, the higher the opportunity for Palantir to monetize these customers as they grow within the platform, thus leading to higher revenue growth. We know that growth has been slowing down over the last few quarters, but given that Palantir continues to add more customers by the day, and given that Palantir continues to offer more products and services, I wouldn't be surprised if revenue accelerates in the next few quarters. Whatever it is, I think Palantir still has a long growth runway ahead. For one, the big data analytics market worldwide is expected to grow rapidly over the next few years, and according to Statista, the market is expected to grow from $272 billion in 2022 to $656 billion by 2029. The world is becoming increasingly digital, which generates more and more data by the day, which means big data analytics platforms such as Palantir will be more important and valuable for society. So this will be a major tailwind for Palantir. It is also worth mentioning that the US government total expenditures have been on a long-term upward trajectory, which means higher incremental budgets for defense and intelligence initiatives that can flow to Palantir Gotham. And not forgetting to mention, the AI market is gonna grow like crazy. So Statista projects that it will reach $1.8 trillion by 2030. Believe it or not, AI is going to be a larger part of our lives, which could supercharge Palantir's growth. This is part 1 of a 2-part video, and in the second part I talk more about Palantir's outlook, valuation and risks, and if you're interested in watching the second part of the video, you can click in this video right here, or you can find the link to part 2 in the description below. Also, if you find value in this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss future videos. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in part 2 of the video.